A listener says, Ustad, that could you please kindly comment of the Saudis starting Ramadan? Yes.
Remember that Saudi Arabia's track record for the moon, it stinks and it is disgusting. Their sighting is Moonsighting. Remember that.
Bismillah walhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Amma ba'd. Fassalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The question is, when should we start to look out for the crescent of Ramadan? Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam has given us guidelines in this regard. This is found in the hadith recorded by Imam at-Tirmidhi and other muhaddithun on the authority of Abu Huraira radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, who said that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Ahsu hilal Sha'ban li Ramadan. Count and take note of the month of Sha'ban for the purpose of ascertaining the beginning of Ramadan. Now this is the foundation and the basis for looking and ensuring that we attain the sighting of the crescent of Ramadan. If the crescent of Ramadan is seen, then it would mean that the month of Sha'ban was 29 days. And if it is not seen, then it means that Sha'ban would be 30 days. Mufti Abdul Qadir Hussain criticized Saudi Arabia and their moonsighting processes, and he even indicated, as we heard in the recording, that it was wrong. They had made a mistake in starting the month of Ramadan 1443. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, فَإِن تَنَازَعْتُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ فَرُدُّوهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَالرَّسُولِ إِن كُنتُمْ تُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ. Verily, if you all differ in a matter, then refer it to Allah and the Messenger, if indeed you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the last day. So, there is no other arbiter in our differences, Shari'i differences or Dini differences, except the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now we know what the Sunnah is. We've read the hadith of Abu Huraira radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and we are going to judge the processes followed by Saudi Arabia in line with this hadith of Abu Huraira radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. The processes that are followed by Saudi Arabia in the moon sighting for Ramadan can be found in the website of Al-Lajnatu Da'ima lil Buhuth Al-Ilmiya wal-Ifta, that is the Permanent Committee for Academic Research and Fatawa. This is something which is documented, it's there, and we are now going to look at those processes and examine them in light of this hadith that I've read. Firstly, the Ministry of Justice sends out a circular in the month of Rajab to courts in the various areas, instructing the judges to confirm the sighting of the crescent of Sha'ban. So if the crescent of Sha'ban is seen, then it means that Rajab was 29 days, and after the month of Rajab is the month of Sha'ban. In this way, the month of Sha'ban is established. If the sky or the western horizon is overcast, then it would mean that Sha'ban, the month of Rajab consists of 30 days. So that's how it works. Secondly, towards the end of Sha'ban, the Supreme Judicial Council sits at the Ministry of Justice to review the testimonies submitted by the judges of persons who viewed the crescent of Sha'ban. Thirdly, after a study of the submissions, the Judicial Committee issues a verdict with regards to which day was actually the first of Sha'ban. Fourthly, based on the above, the date of viewing the horizon for the crescent sighting of Ramadan is determined, which will be the evening of the 30th Sha'ban, which is the 29th day having passed. A circular is sent to the judges informing them of that. Now remember that the next day starts, for the purpose of the lunar calendar, the next day starts in the evening. Not like our Gregorian calendar, when it comes to days and when days start. So, the 30th of Sha'ban, the evening, is when the crescent will be looked for, and that would mean that 29 days of Sha'ban have already passed. That's how it's done. The judges are then well prepared to start receiving evidence of crescent sighting for the month of Ramadan by witnesses or from witnesses. Witnesses are interviewed and they are vetted and validated in terms of their adala. The adala is a reference to their character, their commitment to the deen and practicing of the deen, etc. This is a suitability test, in other words. And thereafter the witness is examined in terms of the sighting of the crescent. He is questioned as follows: how he saw the crescent, meaning how it appeared to him, his place of observation, the actual whereabouts. Thirdly, the period between sunset and observation. He will then be asked other questions to verify the correctness of the crescent sighting. Lastly, after validation by the judges, a memo is sent to the Department of Justice, which convenes a judicial committee, and the submissions of the judges are studied. A decree is then issued by the High Court that the month of Ramadan has indeed entered, and an announcement is made via all the official media outlets. So, looking at these steps, we find that this is Shari compliant. It is a absolutely good method which complies with the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ when he said, Ahsu hilala Sha'ban li Ramadan. Count and take note of the month of Sha'ban for the purpose of ascertaining the beginning of Ramadan. And the very same processes are followed when it comes to the month of Shawwal, to determine which is the first of Shawwal, which would indicate the Eid al-Fitr and the end of Ramadan. So, the criticism of Saudi Arabia when it comes to their moon sighting is, in fact, baseless, according to this document. Secondly, it is based on little understanding or not actually investigating how it is done in order to have certain knowledge and be devoid of speculation. So, we have now concluded that there is nothing wrong with the processes employed by Saudi Arabia in establishing the moon crescent or the crescent of Ramadan. And all the speculations and the stories that we hear from people that it is the king who determines the month of Ramadan, its entry, and the entry of the month of Shawwal is all figments of the imagination. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from speculating without doing proper research. Wa barakallahu fikum. Wa sallallahu ala nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.